Look at that. I think we're live.
I think so.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to a new episode of ATL On Fire, the podcast where we talk all things Atlanta United football and all things soccer. And as always, I am joined by Dave Katz and Carmen Butler. How are y'all doing this evening?
Very good. I'm good. What about you, Katz?
I'm doing great.
Yeah.
You only have not so much.
You have 364 more days in your 40s. So happy belated birthday to Dave.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. I'm still around.
Yeah.
The rumors of my demise are greatly exaggerated.
But as always, you've brought us a lovely bottle of wine.
Ooh,
yes.
A Malbec, if I'm not
mistaken. It's a Malbec from Argentina,
like
Wapisa.
Okay.
2022. What y'all think?
Delicioso.
Me likey.
I have to say, can I go on a slight wine tangent?
Yes.
So this weekend we had a blind taste testing. You've heard of the famous taste testings in France and wherever, where, there was a famous moment where one of the California wines won competition in France and people went nuts.
Okay.
So we had a wine tasting of our wine that I had never had. We grow Norton Cianthia, which is the grape, and it's a Native American grape. Anyway, there's a famous winery, Chrysalis, who grows Norton in the U.S. and Virginia, and we ordered some wines from them. We had a blind tasting versus their wines.
Okay.
And who won? Emerald Hill Winery, people. It was not unanimous.
Cobb County, Emerald Hills.
Smyrna.
Okay.
Smyrna.
And I had a bet with Dave a while ago that he couldn't make a drinkable wine. And boy, did he prove me wrong.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. I was like, I don't think, the first year that they came out, I was like, I don't think it's going to be like what I would consider drinkable. and so what does that mean? Like, I would say like a yellowtail is like acceptable drinking wine.
Yeah, drinkable.
Yes,
it's drinkable. It's not good. Not good.
But drinkable.
It used to be when they first came on the U.S. market. Yellowtail was really nice.
Like a lot of these, like Meiomi was a really good Pinot Noir, and now it's like horrible. It's like sweet. And,
because it's being super mass produced.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're just trying to make lots and lots of wine.
So, but you're right. When Yellowtail was more on the good side versus just drinkable.
And made a deal with our buddy Brandon at Wolf Mountain Vineyards.
You had lunch up there.
So we're going to be blending some of our grapes and theirs for next year's vintage.
What?
That's awesome.
Let's go.
Some juice.
I feel like, what's the celebratory?
So we should talk about Wolf Mountain Vineyard because God bless.
Tell people about your experience at Wolf Mountain.
It's fantastic. It was absolutely fantastic. I went up there with my parents and we had a lovely lunch. And then Brandon met us and we did a flight tasting and we went into the wine rooms and, we did a little, and we talked about this year's harvest and, how we could potentially siphon off a little. I said, can you spare maybe like a couple of gallons? He's like, we do like a bazillion gallons. He's like, I won't even notice. So, yeah.
Awesome.
That is awesome. Very cool.
Yeah. And so that means also that we got to take another trip this fall, right up to Wolf Mountain Vineyard because we have to collect the juice. So you might as well taste it.
Twist my arm.
And then, of course, we want to thank Wild Heaven Brewery, who supplies us with the beer because we don't have enough spirits around here.
Yeah, and I got a slight bone to pick with the Wild Heaven Brewery.
What's up?
Because I'm itching for them to open in Choco Hills.
Yeah, I think it's coming soon.
It hasn't opened yet.
Okay.
I mean, it's a slight critique that if it's not open, I can't drink their beer.
Yeah, that's
so
location is not open for you.
Not to say that I've walked by there 3 times already, but maybe
just hoping
that they might be open. Maybe.
All right, I'll see if I can get an update on the timeline there.
Because they said coming this summer. Yeah. Summer's running out, people.
I know, isn't that crazy? Kids are going back to school. All right, so let's get to some soccer, people.
All right.
Enough of the small talk.
This is delicious wine and beer sponsor talk.
It's been a tough July, okay?
Like why?
And this is so, listeners. We're going to start.
What are you talking about?
We're going to start off with. I'm forcing Dave to talk about our win against Columbus Crew because that is the shining Moment of
We're on
July.
an
Yeah,
upswing,
Columbus,
people.
the best team in the whole league.
Best team in the whole league. We take them down 2-1.
Stian
Air
Gregerson
Gregerson.
discovered that he's got a giant forehead.
Yes.
And he used it to propel the ball with mighty force into the goal twice on 2 consecutive. They showed him. You see the Twitter feed from Atlanta United? They put the 2 goals simultaneously going at the same time. And it's like, you can't even tell it's 2 different goals. It's so crazy.
Yeah, I love that guy's attitude and just vibe on the field of just trying to bully people around.
After trailing 1-0.
Yeah.
Okay, we came back.
We did.
Woo, and then didn't immediately give up a goal once we scored a goal. We scored another goal.
There was a couple of dicey moments, but yeah.
We scored, and then we scored again, and then we won.
Okay.
So that doesn't usually happen.
So Dave, the last time we podcasted, it's been a couple of weeks now. It's been 3 weeks, I think, since we live casted.
Team went off the wagon. ATL on Fire went off the wagon.
Yeah.
All the fans went off the wagon. There's not that many people in the stadium.
Really?
The supporters group is protesting any chants.
There was a chanting going in. Do not raise our ticket prices.
Yeah.
We can get to that in a minute, but it's been
a little tumultuous.
Yeah.
Tumultuous.
Yeah. Good, both.
Great
Both
words.
of those
Good
things.
job.
And,
Tumultuous and turbulent. I like it.
And they're not continuing to not do me any favors in terms of gaining any trust right now of not telling me who they're going after for the head coach position, given Rob Valentino is basically in the last 6 games gone 4 losses, a tie, and a win against Columbus.
Yeah.
We already knew he's not.
Got off to an okay start and then 4 losses in a row.
We know he's not. We know he's not the right long-term solution. Yet I think the club is still trying to give him that rope and to convince the fans that we're going to promote one of our own, when all along it's not the right move given the finances that Atlanta United has selling Almada, Wiley, Giacomakis, lots of money in the bank from all these sales. And
over 50 million.
54 million.
Oh my goodness.
And the one thing you can spend that on without any caps is a coach.
Or a designated player.
But
which we have 2 spots.
But before you do any of that, don't you want a coach in place, Dave?
Yes.
Okay.
True.
So they've been saying like, it doesn't matter. We could just, buy the players who fit the team style. I'm like, what style?
Yeah.
Right? Like,
good point.
Come on. Every club says we want to be an aggressive attacking club, but that's not actually true. Right. And so, it's not to say that you need the coach to necessarily recruit, but you do want to know what kind of coach you have. If you sign, whoever to be a winger and your coach doesn't like to play with wingers, then you got a problem.
I think you do need the coach in place to recruit because
I agree.
You need to know who you're going to come play for. You need to have that trust in either their resume or their one-on-one capability to motivate you. Right. And I don't think we're hearing anything from this front office in terms of what is it that they actually want from a head coach like that. Gar said the search will start tomorrow. And I apologize if I haven't read anything on any other statements of this is the style of coach that we're looking for.
Nada.
Nothing.
He's made a couple appearances on 92.9 The Game and said, nothing.
Yeah, but again, that can only lead to one conclusion: is that they're giving Rob Valentino the rope to win the job.
Can I give my consensus of Rob? Lost it. Can I give my consensus of Rob Valentino?
Yeah, go ahead.
Please do.
So Rob Valentino. So here I've been thinking about. He's been in charge for 10 now. He has 3 wins, 4 losses, and 3 ties. Certainly not great.
Right.
It's not horrible, but it's not great either. It's better than Pineda, a little bit, including, and you have to say you got to be factoring in the fact that he hasn't had Almada and Gigi recently.
Yeah, of course, we lost our 2 best players.
I mean, we did lose 4 games after we lost those players, so but anyway, he's had a better record overall, and has had less of them. So I think honestly, so here's my take on Valentino. So I actually think that he evaluates talent much better than Pineda. Mm-hmm. We have seen some things that I really like. going with 3 defensive-minded midfielders at the same time, which Pineda absolutely refused to do.
Done, yeah.
Never.
Right. He made some recognition, like he played Abram when he had to, but the moment Gregerson came back in, we were like, keep Abram back in. No, just bye. Gregerson goes right back in the lineup. Same thing. Even Rio scored a bunch of goals as soon as Tiare was back. He put him right back in the lineup. So I feel like he recognizes talent better than Pineda.
Yep.
So give him a plus for that.
Yeah, and isn't afraid to then make the correct moves for the next match.
Right. And he started out from the very beginning because Pineda had, of course, as we predicted. Remember that podcast where we had this long stream of going over all the notes of Pineda, and we said, Pineda, you'll know when Pineda is done in history when he switches back to 5 in the back. He switched back to 5 in the back, and then he got fired. So the first game, he stayed with the 5 in the back. I don't blame him for that. Like, okay, you just, you don't want to necessarily make changes. But he has evolved back to a 4 in the back. And that's the right move. Yeah. And so I like the his formation, thinking. Yeah. And clearly the players like the freedom. There's 2 aspects that I like about it. So one is our defenders are a little bit more free to go up the field to try to make a challenge, especially on the outside. They're not so, hang back. And obviously, to me, the most freedom you ever saw was the crazy dark arts Tiare goal where he snuck up behind the goalkeeper and scored. That was like the ultimate in a player feeling confident in themselves. Right. That being said, here's the negative. Tactically, we look not that sophisticated, particularly in the middle. There's been 3 midfielders, but he's kind of like, yeah, there's 3 midfielders, play. They don't really seem to be that coordinated. Yeah. And he has not fixed the defensive problems. It looked initially like he didn't have them pinching in as much, but it's been a little back and forth. But the last game, bam, they're back in pinching in and whatever. So
did you see the first goal that Columbus scored against us? Do you think that Lennon knows how to defend?
No.
It was.
We finally learned that. Neither does Wiley, by the way.
Well, right, and that's my point. And both of them are athletic enough to be good defenders. But again, it just shows like our fullbacks who are athletic guys, Wiley and Lennon are super athletic. Like that goal, Lennon just again gave so much space, and especially as it got into the box, just let the guy basically get a free cross off with.
Against Real Salt Lake, where we lost 5, was it 5-2?
Like 5-2,
it was a terrible drubbing. In that, they had a free kick. We were playing the zonal marking right across, just outside the 18, right? And Lennon is standing there. So their best striker, and his name is eluding me now. He's one of the best strikers in the West. He's leading in scoring. He's a terrific player. He goes out wide, and Lennon looks at him. And it's like, oh, this is my zone. And then he looks at him, and then this is my zone. And like, I'm not sure. And then he stayed in there, and he just ran in and scored. Yeah. And you're like, you might want to cover the best attacker in the league.
Yeah. But that's how, again, this idea of pinching in. The pinching in is more than just like being compact and then not like that is just systemic in terms of how they end up defending and backing off the ball. And man, it got so ugly with the way I was watching Wiley do that over and over again, where he was already on the back foot because he hadn't addressed it way early out on the wings. And then by the time the pressure's going, he's just getting, it's totally a disadvantage to any fullback.
You think Chelsea bought him so young because they're like, we got to get him out of there before he continues to learn that defense?
Yeah.
It's quite possible.
I mean, I was, because they threw up some highlight reels of Wiley, and boy, when he was 17, the confidence was so much better. He was so much better. Like you can just see it from one clip. I'm like, that's a better version of Wiley. And so he's been digressing, but has all the tools. So good for him. He's going to Chelsea. Yes, hopefully they can turn his career around.
No, that's never a good destination. Chelsea
I know. Club. Even Chelsea fans would agree with you on that.
But they need. I was like, they're buying him just to loan him out. He's going to be one of whatever players. To be fair, they don't have a left back basically.
Yeah.
So maybe.
Yeah.
I can't imagine Wiley's walking in as their starting left back.
Yeah.
How cool would that be if he
I don't
somehow?
know. They really need a left back.
But do we want that for him to have to actually guard real people playing?
Well, no,
it won't take that long to coach.
Exactly.
Honestly.
Are you sure?
No.
Yeah, no, I don't think he's
Get
got
him
all
up
the
to
tools.
speed. Give me 3 weeks.
That's been the tough part of watching him being coached, not to go address ball when you got a guy like Wiley who's athletic enough to get the job done, but not.
Yeah, because it'll take a long time for him to learn the nuances of one-on-one defending, but he's so athletic and so physical that as long as he's in the right spot, he's fine.
Yeah.
All right. Y'all say so.
I totally think he's got all the tools to get it done, but I mean, it's a stretch, but maybe if he gets loaned to the right place.
I'm not predicting that. I'm thinking they're loaning him out still, but you never know.
Yeah. All right.
You never know.
What else is good?
Saying there's
so Almada was gone last time we talked, and Gigi was gone too, right?
Yeah.
That's not news, right?
They were
When did the Olympics start?
The Olympics start tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Soccer.
Soccer starts.
Soccer starts tomorrow.
Right. Opening ceremony, I think it's Friday.
Friday, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But the first two, the men and women U.S. team play tomorrow and Thursday.
Okay.
3:00 and 3:00.
Soccer's back.
Woo!
Yes. And to be honest, I think both teams both teams are contenders.
Really now?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
I actually think U.S. Soccer did a really smart thing. Now, I don't know anything about this coach, but at least he's not one of these former U.S. internationals.
Who is he? I don't even know who he is.
I don't know about it. He came.
I guess I can look him
He's
up.
a European coach. He coached in MLS very briefly, like as an assistant coach. I don't think he's been a head coach, which is not great. But, I don't know anything about him. I have no idea whether he's good or not. But you know what I think is really brilliant on the men's side is they are allowed 2 overage players. Right. And so a lot of these people take the 1 or 2 fantastic, attackers who are going to make the difference. I don't think now is the moment that we want to grab Pulisic or, whatever. And so what they did is instead they went with Walker Zimmerman and Miles Robinson as the 2 overage players. And they said, let's just anchor the team and let all these young guys go.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think do they have 3? I thought they had 3. Never mind.
Now the other thing about it is a couple of MLS teams, there's a stretch, did not release their best players.
I saw that.
Which I think is actually, it bodes well. It means that those players are integral enough to the team that they didn't want to release them for the Olympics, which they do not have to. Yeah. It's not a FIFA event, so you do not have to release those players.
Yeah. It's tough though. I don't love that either for the players who lifetime dream to represent their country.
That's true.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's a lot of soccer.
It
though,
is
when you think about it. The people who played, in Copa and then having to go straight to the Olympics.
Right.
That's
the problem with
summer.
the MLS schedule. They need to get their act together. And Dave and I talked about this in the last podcast that Leagues Cup, which is about to happen, should only happen like every 2 years or something.
If it happened every other year, then it would never overlap with the European Championships, Copa America. Or it would never overlap with the World Cup. And every other summer they would have it. People think. Yes. So it's not a problem if you're the other leagues. It is a problem for the players because they play the whole year and then they play the summer. But it's not a problem losing their players because there's no overlap. But in MLS, it is the middle of the season. You lose everybody. So if they go play in a World Cup, they go play in a Copa America or Euros, they're gone. Yeah. Right. Mm-hmm. So understand that. Right. And say, okay, every other summer we're going to have that. And then the other summer we'll have Leagues Cup.
All right. So we're talking international soccer.
Yeah.
News that Berhalter gets let go. Not a big surprise, right? After the
I don't know. I thought I was surprised.
Were you?
Yeah.
Well, I think a lot of people were, but yeah.
Because I think the U.S. Soccer Administration, the people running it are idiots.
Yeah, but they knew it was time for
it was time, but I just didn't think they were going to do it. And I'm not surprised that they shouldn't have done it.
Applaud them for doing it because it was clear we needed a change.
They did it.
And then secondly, unlike Atlanta United, they at least showed some level of expectation. Jurgen Klopp is available.
There is an actual search underway.
A pipe dream.
And the ironic part.
But they actually called him.
The ironic part. Here's the ironic part.
Would you like the job?
Is in U.S. soccer.
No, thank you. Even though I'm trolling you with my U.S. men's national team shirt on Twitter with Men in Blazers. I love him for that, though. That was awesome.
I do kind of too. I can't lie about
that. The thing about it is, and here's the ironic part, is that U.S. soccer is not in any hurry. They don't have another tournament until the World Cup, which is 2 summers, right? So there's no hurry there, and yet they are like working on it. Atlanta United needs a coach. Like, we're in the middle of league season, right? And they're doing nothing.
Exactly. That's what I'm getting at. Like, I love the rumor mill that's out there, at least that, we can disagree. Like Wilfred Nancy, Cherundolo as MLS coaches who have not a huge head coaching resume, but successful. So you'd question whether they have enough success at a high level to coach the caliber of players we have in the U.S. men's. But then, of course, they go the path of the big stars like Patrick Vieira and Thierry Henry are in the country. But at least we get to at least we get to react.
Sorry, excuse me.
Atlanta United. Who have we heard? Crickets.
Nada. Nothing.
Crickets. Not even explaining the style of coach that we want.
I heard Mikey Dobbs put himself up for coach, but there was no.
I mean, something. I'll take it. I'll take that. I called. I don't know.
Mikey Dobbs. If they hire you, can I be assistant?
But why? Does it hurt their PR at all? Does it hurt their PR at all to say, "Hey, we called this guy and he turned it down"? Like, feels like
not only does it not hurt, it gives people hope. It's a good thing. When the hope is gone, you die a little bit inside, Mikey Dobbs. And it's even worse than that.
The hope is dying, and with the Atlanta United ticket prices going up, what percent did they go up?
Whoa! They're going up.
They decided, Carmen Butler, to raise the ticket prices in the middle of this season.
Whoa!
How tone deaf are they?
Wait! Let's back up. All right. So when you say they raised them in the middle of the season, you mean
this is for next
year, though.
Yes.
But still, they're going to look us in our face
right now
and tell us we expect you to pay more for a team,
losing product.
It doesn't have a coach.
Stars going away.
We just sold Gigi. We just sold Almada. Hit the freaking button.
He's heating up.
There is a mass exodus of season ticket holders. Their estimate was they published this too, that they said, we only expect 10% loss in season ticket holders. I think they're drastically underestimating. As someone who pays into the season ticket holder that is Dave.
That is Dave.
I am there's going to be a decrease in allocation next year.
I mean, absolutely.
Yeah, we got
at
a problem.
the very least, wait.
Problem.
I'm going to wait until they're begging people.
So to be fair, the supporter section marched in saying, do not raise our ticket prices. They had a protest in this last Columbus game. They have the normal parade, and they marched in with a protest.
No chance.
So good for them.
Yeah, they didn't chance.
Yeah, and then they did silence for the beginning of the game.
Did they?
Yeah, good for fucking them. Yeah,
good job, guys.
Good boy.
Yeah, I'm all about. I mean, it is tone deaf to your point. And
that's so not Arthur Blank.
And so
I'm not saying he makes that decision, but that is so not him to be that tone deaf.
Yeah. And I don't understand how. I mean, tickets are expensive enough in a very tough economy now.
Yes.
The math isn't adding up to me.
No.
Very fortunate. So when I have to question it, it's like, man, how does the average person get into an Atlanta United game? It's like everybody's being boxed out. Yeah. They don't get in.
Right. Absolutely.
And right now, when the team needs the supporters more than anything, you don't want to lose supporters right now.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, come on.
So I would say club in crisis.
I think it's a club in crisis. I thought we're kind of near rock bottom, but the fact that I'm not seeing any communication around what their plans are for a new head coach with $54 million in the bank to go make phone calls, and like I said, Lagway better be in Europe talking to at least stretch your dreams to see who we can get here.
Now they keep hinting that the designated players are coming in this window, which would be great, but also awful, right? Great because we got 50 million and we need them, but how do you do that without even making a push for a coach?
And not communicating our number one it's you don't have to tell who your targets are. Like everybody, every time I bring this up, like online, like you never say who your targets are, especially with players. I get that, but with a coach, it's kind of different. You can say you're having conversations with someone to again give
even if you're not,
even if you're not.
Hey, I know.
I agree with you. Like, oh, we talked to Klopp.
Yeah.
What's I'm not
or
there?
yeah, hey, everybody's on. Like they're saying nothing,
And then what they
there's
meant
no hope.
was, I talked to him in my dreams, or
And
I
this
talked to the
this is
picture of Klopp.
This is classic. This is classic bad management from like a CEO who's running a company who just creates a void. And so
Yeah.
if the CEO Lagaway is not communicating, which he is not,
Mhm.
then you know what happens? You know who creates the narrative? People like me, people like you, everyday
you don't
people.
want the narrative that Mikey Dobbs is creating.
You do
You
not.
do not want
Have you
that.
seen
You don't
Carmen,
want it.
have you seen his AI generated song about firing Pineda?
Oh, where is it?
It's one of the buttons,
It's
right?
One of
You
the
put
buttons. I think it's the bottom
No.
bottom right one, maybe. I don't know. You can always stop it.
Okay,
you
let's
know?
see. Nope.
No.
We're gonna play all
Bottom
buttons.
right.
Bottom right.
That's
He's
in the
heating
street.
up.
Okay, let's see. So what we got? Nope.
Somebody should.
It's on the top.
Okay, let's go. No, that's.
It's on
Do we
the
not
top,
have it?
top line.
I
Somewhere.
thought the type on
Just
was-
like back in Guadalajara, you see?
Who
Just like
knows?
back in
Yeah,
Guadalajara.
green one is the
just
only
like
one
back in,
left.
just like back in Guadalajara.
Green one.
I
Green
do it,
one.
coach. Just like
Oh,
back in,
yeah.
just like back in
Leave it.
Guadalajara, you see? I do it, coach.
I love the fact that the roadcaster has gone wild, but there it
Yeah,
is.
there it is. We found the last button I pressed.
Blame another producer.
She's got one job, Dave. To know which buttons to push.
You might have to put some labels on
And you
that.
would have thought the green one is go, right? Green is go.
Hey,
Let's
she's
go.
drinking wine.
I got it
Come
now.
on.
It's been 3 weeks, people. I've forgotten how to use this thing. Oh, I miss this though.
Divided.
Spirits low. This lifts my spirits every time.
Does it
Let's
really?
go. Keep let it go.
I was
let
to
it
say
go,
I was
go.
gonna stop it, but no.
For real. This time it's gone.
All right. We've moved on from Gonzalo Pineda, but we still don't know what's next. And that's a problem.
Yeah, and I think, I mean, I have no actual insight, but I would think Pochettino would have a second thought about our team.
Argentina.
So all these young South Americans, he's
Yeah.
Argentinian. He's sick and tired of getting fired from huge clubs, even at sight winning. Needs a little time off of Europe.
Yes.
That's where I'd start. I think he's a better fit for our team than Klopp.
Yeah.
Not saying he's a better coach, but he's a better fit for our team.
True. All right. Where's the suggestion
And there's,
box?
all these other coaches that we talked about, in the back, we go back to the other podcast, we talked about it. They're available. They're not going to be available forever.
Yeah. That's why I worry that there's just no urgency.
Yeah.
There's no communication.
I mean, the only thing you would have to say, if you're going to, if they're like, look, Valentina's got to last the rest of the season. And the reason is because we're going raiding and we're going to get Wilfred Nancy. We're going to,
That's the only
or
thing
we're
I
going to
can think
get,
of.
yeah, they're going to raid another MLS.
yeah,
coach.
That's the
we're going to
only
raid
thing.
Cincinnati and get whatchamacallit. Noonan, and we're going to weaken them while strengthen us. And that is our priority. And that's why we're playing games. If
Right.
that were to turn out, but I just don't see that that's a real.
I think it's a possibility.
And
I don't.
but honestly, even
It
if
would
you
shock
thought
me.
that, so even if you're like, I'm
Okay.
going to get Noonan or I'm going to get Wilfred Nancy, which is our number one.
Okay.
Wouldn't you, in the meantime, say, hey, we got nothing to freaking lose. Let's just go after Pochettino.
Yeah.
Like, nobody's going to say that's a bad hire.
Yeah, that's true.
So why not, throw the dice, throw it
Oh,
at
there's
Klopp,
plenty
throw
of people
whatever.
out there that would say it's a bad hire because if you've not been on the Twitters, everyone will disagree with you if you have an opinion,
Yeah.
right? Even if
Yeah.
it's informed like yours. but-
Pochettino has a terrific record. A terrific record. He did really well at Tottenham, got them in the Champions League every year, got to the Champions League final. And that's a club that wasn't, under Daniel Levy, wasn't spending a dime,
Yeah.
nothing. Then he goes to Paris Saint-Germain. And yes, they fired him for not winning the Champions League, but he won the league every year,
Yeah.
right? So it's not like he won the league. And he had an amazing squad, but he won the league, right? And he went, they got to the quarterfinals of the Champions League every year. And then, he goes to Chelsea and people say, oh, I didn't do so well at Chelsea. That's bullshit, right? Because at the beginning of the season, they were in disarray. He did struggle for the half. The second half of the season, they were the number one team in the Premier League. So he got them together. How they fired him is beyond me. If you're looking at that, you're like, he just took our chaos and made it a team.
And then we're still going to fire him.
Yeah, because they're like, oh, over the season, it wasn't great. But it's like, if you had a trajectory, if you bought a stock, right? And you're like, oh, yeah, the stock did poorly for the first 6 months. And now it's skyrocketing, right? Are you going to sell it? No. You would watch the trajectory and you wouldn't say, well, over the whole year, it's only performed mediocre because, it was terrible at first. You would be like, but trajectory,
on the upswing.
Yeah. What the?
So I also want to bring up, there's been a lot of games since we last podcasted, but we had an opportunity in the US Open, which is certainly diminished in value, but it really is the only realistic trophy that Atlanta United could have gone after this year. And oh my gosh, Dave, we lost to Indy 11, a USL team, and clearly showed that we weren't willing to come out in a quarterfinal game and put our best foot forward. What are your thoughts on that?
I was the most angry I have ever been all year. And that's saying a lot because Pineda, gets my blood boiling, right? So if you're Rob Valentino, okay, right? You're an interim coach, right? This is your one chance, right? You know that you're not going to have forever, right? Mm-hmm. And you're like, look, right? We are not winning MLS. We're in 12th place, right? So even if we do miraculously, remember how, Lagerwey was like, look, if we average whatever over 2 points a game, we could still get to fourth. Even if we do all of that, we're getting to fourth, right? And that's very improbable. So if you're not getting into the top four, you're not winning MLS. Right. I mean, I know people say, oh, you're in the playoffs. You got any big a chance. It's not happening. The days of the ninth seed going on a run and winning the MLS is not so much because especially in our conference, you're not getting by Cincinnati, Columbus, and Miami. Right. There's just no way.
Make good points.
Right. So, okay. So if I'm looking at that and I just got handed the keys to Atlanta United. Right. Okay. I'm saying, for my own long-term success, for the club's fans, I have to say, is there a trophy that I can win? You're not winning Leagues Cup because you don't have the squad. You're not winning the MLS Cup because you're way, way behind and you don't have the squad. But the US Open Cup is a shambolic tournament this year, right? Yep. All the MLS teams didn't enter. They only entered half of them. Yeah.
6 MLS teams.
And
not even half.
Yeah. And so we're in the quarterfinals. We draw Indy 11, right? You got Kansas City waiting in the semifinals. So all you got to do is beat Indy 11 and Kansas City, and you're in a final, right? A final, people. I know it's a tainted trophy this year, but it's still a final. And you're like, that's your only chance. If I were coaching that team, I would have put out my starting 11 and said, I am getting us as far as I can.
Right.
That is my number one route to a trophy. This is a season that is unlike. And so he doesn't start Lennon, no Williams, no Cobb, no Silva, no Sleaze, no Rios. Ooh. What?
Yep.
I mean, I get it because it's Indy 11, and normally if you're Columbus or Miami and you're leading the league and you're like, dude, U.S. Open is a tainted trophy because we're going for the MLS Cup. We're also probably going to contend for the Leagues Cup. Fine, right? I'm fine with blowing it off, but that's not us.
Yeah,
we're in 12th place at the time.
Yeah,
you have got to say we are 2 wins away from a final.
Which again,
we're at home to Indy 11, and you gotta win that game.
He's heating up.
Which is exactly why we know the interim coach is not being treated like an interim coach, and he's not acting like an interim coach with any sort of
I think that's
not
very insightful. Yes.
motives to try to do enough to prove that he's head coach worthy going into 2025.
That's a good point. Yep.
And it's a fail.
But honestly, even if they told him, even if you're Valentino and they told you, look, you've got the whole season, you're still auditioning for a long-term job, and you're still auditioning for if you're moving on to another head coaching job.
Yep.
And if you can get a trophy, a win, a title, that is what you need.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And you're 2 games away. Why wouldn't you do that? And the only thing I can think is this pure arrogance and not evaluating the team and being like, oh, we can get by Indy 11 even with this team, which is dumb. Yeah. Because you knew Indy 11 was playing really well in the A League. That doesn't mean they're in our level, but you got to play our full team.
You gotta.
It's like any of those. I mean, you go to the FA Cup in England, like you get a different level USL team when you're playing for something like that. They're going to play way above their pay grade, right, in a game like that, especially against Atlanta.
And
to not know that and to not prepare for that is ignorance.
Any coach in the Premier League will tell you, if you're not one of the teams leading the title, you can blow off the FA Cup because you're just looking for survival. If you somehow survive and you get close to a quarterfinal, it totally flips the script, and you play your number one squad. Yeah. Everybody's seen that. That's been true from day one.
You can't just try to like head
right, because you're like, hey, at that point, the supporters are like, hey, we got a chance.
Yeah. Right. Absolutely.
All right. So Leagues Cup is about to begin too, Dave, right? The old matchup against Liga MX.
Yes.
And Atlanta is in a group with DC United and Santos. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I don't know y'all talking about, but
yeah.
Leagues Cup.
I'm like, too
we
much.
play next Friday, if I'm not mistaken, the 26th.
Friday? Is it a Friday game?
Huh. Yeah. Against DC United.
Yeah.
Is that our next game?
Yep.
Because
it's right now. We're in the MLS All-Star break. Yeah. Aren't you watching the MLS All-Star game, Mikey Dobbs?
All the time.
Look at with the MLS All-Star game. Isn't that tomorrow night?
I think so. Tyson said it was Wednesday. So what's today? Tuesday?
Yeah.
Yep. So it's Wednesday.
Look it up. Let's see what time it's starting.
Skills Challenge is today, folks. Like I'm sure everyone.
And who are they playing even? Do you even know? Usually they play like a Premier League team on preseason.
Oh, I thought it was a Mexican
or a Mexican team sometimes.
What am I looking at? Oh, MLS All-Star game?
You know, that's how sad, because normally we would be like, oh, yeah, but we're just like.
It was kind of funny, though. Because,
so, Carmen, do you want to give a recap as well of what our bets were for the Copa America winners and the Euros?
Oh, yeah, we'll get to that in a second. Let's see who we're playing.
Let's get to that. I'm just jumping all over the place.
Liga MX All-Stars. We're playing Liga MX, which again,
All-Stars versus All-Stars. Okay.
And I get that we've done that in the past to sort of promote that rivalry, but that's also a stupid move because we're playing Leagues Cup.
Yeah. Right.
So that's the club versus club. So this game should have been.
That game used to be the reason.
First of all, let's get rid of the freaking All-Star game.
Yeah.
Like that was awesome in the first, 5 years or whatever, but
there's no purpose for it. Oh,
Mikey Dobbs.
With so much soccer.
Does the Premier League have an All-Star game?
No.
Does La Liga have an All-Star game?
I'm surprised they don't, because any chance that any of these clubs can try to squeeze another dollar, they'll do it.
I asked the boys that. I was like, well, does any other legitimate league have an All-Star game? He's like, no.
I heard a rumor that Iceland has an All-Star.
Do they?
No, I'm kidding.
Oh. Darn it.
Not even Iceland has an freaking All-Star game.
I was like, come on, Iceland. But no. Yeah. Americans just need it.
But we needed it at the beginning because that was an awesome chance to match up and see things. We played Liga MX, All-Stars. These are great things at the time.
Yeah.
But when you're playing in the CONCACAF Champions League, which is disappearing probably anyway, but if we're playing in the Leagues Cup.
Why is that disappearing though, by the way?
Well, because the Leagues Cup, the leagues are going to merge.
Yeah, but CONCACAF is bigger than Liga MX.
Yes, but nobody cares about anybody besides Liga MX.
Politics do.
Yeah, but so
I agree with you that they should.
Once Liga MX and MLS merge, which is coming down the pipe.
Yeah.
Once they merge, then nobody going to care about Costa Rica, Jamaican club
Yeah,
teams. Like
point.
nobody.
I disagree. I think
really?
because Costa Rica, Jamaica, and Panama continue to beat the U.S. men's national team.
But they're club teams. First of all, they're even their national teams.
Where do you think those players come from?
They come from the Premier League.
Well, no, they
and they come from
but,
Spain. Nobody plays in the.
And their academy was
domestic.
No,
that's not true. Even Jamaica, all their players are in the MLS now. There's no academy or whatever.
They still had to grow up somewhere where there was legitimate soccer until they were
maybe
16
Costa Rica, like you got
Costa
Club
Rica.
Saprissa.
So I disagree. I disagree.
You got like
there
one
had to
club.
been good enough programs for them to be able to get shipped off to
So you're going to play a Champions League final every year. The winner of the combined
you-
MLS Liga MX. Wait, hold on. And they're going to play Saprissa every year.
So you're saying that those countries are not going to be able to create the talent at 16 to be recognized by European clubs anymore?
No, because they're all going to be in Liga MX MLS. Period. Every single one of those things are coming to the academies in either Mexico or the U.S. once the leagues merge.
So your theory is that they're all going to get groomed through the Liga MX, and
they're going to be scouting those countries and bringing them over at 14, 15, 16. And
is there any evidence of that though?
Well, the leagues haven't merged yet. Liga MX or MLS. Even there is, yes, but there is evidence. A lot of those players are already coming up through the MLS or La Liga, academies. If it merges, it's going to be like that's the place to play.
Who's doing the scouting in all these little niche countries? That seems like a tall task even for Liga MX and or MLS as it stands today. And merging doesn't change
it's still going to happen.
I don't know. I'm not buying what you're selling.
Yeah, you're wrong, but I don't know.
Oh goodness!
Hey, we're disagreeing again.
Yeah, back to you. Back to normal. I like it. I like it.
Thank goodness. All right. What else? Any games that have happened? We got our ass kicked by Real Salt Lake, right? 5-2.
Well, yeah, we could talk more in that, but I also think we should talk, Carmen. U.S. women's team going into the Olympics. So first of all, what do you think of our roster?
Love the roster. I like the roster. I'm upset that Katarina Macardio was not ready. I was excited to have her.
She got picked, so they tried. It wasn't like, and then she just wasn't ready.
She just wasn't ready.
But now Williams takes her place, and God bless, Williams has earned a spot. Last Olympics, she was an alternate.
Yeah.
Break your heart.
Yeah.
And now she's at least on the squad.
Yeah. So I like the squad. The last two games that they played were not as great as I thought they would be. It was Costa Rica and Mexico they played. I think they beat Mexico 1-0 with a late goal and tied Costa Rica with 0-0.
But that game, if you're out there and you're listening to Carmen, you might think, the U.S. women are struggling against Costa Rica. So Mikey Dobbs, let me give you this. Does this sound like it's struggling? So we had 82% possession. We had 64 touches in their penalty area.
Wow.
We had like 30-something shots, right?
It
was just like.
But how do we always score? That was the 0-0 one, right? How do we not score?
Because sometimes the ball just doesn't go in. I have to say that Hayes is taking a little time. They're gonna get better or whatever. But that didn't look like to me a struggling U.S. national team squad. No. And you're not gonna get in the Olympics. There are gonna be some teams that sit back, but not like that. They literally put 10 players in their penalty area. They might as well, Mikey Dowes. They actually, at times during live play, they formed a wall on their goal. They had 9 people on the goal.
Look at the schedule. The women play tomorrow against Zambia.
Okay. And God bless ESPN SoccerNet. I know people are some whatever. I read their preview article on the women's Olympics. They have us finishing second in this group.
What? Who's in our? Wait, no.
That is total bullocks. Mikey Dobbs, do you know what bullocks is?
Bullocks. Never mind the bullocks. The Sex Pistols. Yeah.
Okay. So Germany is in our group.
Okay.
Right. And Germany is supposed to be okay. Right. But Oberdorf is their best player. Right.
Okay.
Oberdorf is
believe you.
probably the best player in the world in the women's side. She is amazing, and she's hurt. She's not playing in the Olympics. So forget, you might as well
She's the
just...
one who protested the last World Cup?
No.
No, that was Denmark or something like that.
I thought she was the best player in the world.
The blue. Okay, sorry, go ahead.
No, yeah, you're talking about even the Spanish players protested and they still won.
Oh, that's
Spain
true.
Spain is the real danger.
Spain's
good.
It's
all the Barcelona team that's won 172,000 games in a row.
They do. Yeah, and they all play together. You're right.
So who else is in our group? Guyana.
I think it's Germany, Australia,
Australia, and Zambia.
Zambia.
But Australia. Here's a trivia question, Carmen. Who's Australia's best player?
That can run at this point, or just in general? Samantha Kerr.
Yes.
Samantha Kerr.
And is Samantha Kerr playing?
She is not.
She's hurt. So we are going to destroy our group. We have 3 games to get rolling. And come on.
I think we're okay in
our
the group.
Squad is loaded. Our coach is good.
Yeah.
There is 0 chance we're not finishing second in our group, Mikey Dobbs. This is a leftover for when people are like, the U.S. is maybe not so good anymore. No. Anderlovsky's not that good. And we had a whole bunch of injuries last time. And when you take a crap coach and you take the best players out, then the U.S. is only quarterfinals. But when you have the best coach and all of our young players are now in top form,
I'm hopeful. I don't know why. For some, maybe Anderlovsky or whatever, just to, suck the excitement out of me or something, and put the doubt in me.
Come on.
But our team looks. We should.
Our front line is about as good as ever.
So I have a question for you, Carmen.
Yes, sir. Give it to me.
So you guys know women's soccer way better than me, but apparently the U.S. women's team got the best available coach for the national team, right?
Yes,
the Chelsea coach.
And
she's terrific.
They got the coach at the fair market price who's willing to come coach the U.S. women's national team.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Is it?
They paid her the same as Berhalter.
All right. So under the equal pay, though, is it a problem though if the men's side, right, with the way things work, goes out and if they were to get Jurgen Klopp, who would probably demand way bigger wages, is that an issue? Yes. Why is that an issue?
Oh no, is that an issue? No,
I don't think it.
No.
Okay, right, because for a head coach, right, Klopp's going to demand more, right? If we could go get him, and he would be the best available coach, or Pep, right?
And nobody is on it. I mean, there are people saying, but I'm not. I don't think necessarily that the women are demanding the same salaries as men. They're demanding from the U.S. soccer structure for the same tournaments. They're demanding the same pay. Right. Which is that's all coming from sponsorship money. And they have said, which is true, they have just as much sponsorship. They have really television view only for the World Cup and Olympics. Yeah. And so they should get the exact same amount of money as the men's team.
That's where the media get it all confused, right? Where it's like
nobody is saying, I mean, there are people saying, but I don't think it's a really good argument to say, for example, that Macario should be making as much as Mbappe.
Yeah.
Right.
Because the audience is just not.
But I think that's where people get everything confused in terms of with the coach, right? Like the women went out and the soccer federation supported the hire and the salary of the Chelsea coach, right? And made that happen, right?
Yeah.
And you should back the men's team to be able to do the same based on the market value.
Yes.
Right? So.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes and yes.
All
right. So Carmen,
who
are you picking for the women's Olympics?
You know what? I'm gonna go USA. God dang it! I'm gonna go USA. Why not?
Duh.
Well,
USA.
I mean, I wouldn't go level there, Cats.
Come on. I'm going to jump in with zero knowledge.
Spain. You pick Spain?
Spain. No idea whether Spain.
That's a good pick.
That's a great pick.
Spain just earned me $500 in the Euros.
If you look at Spain's squad, it's still not even in the league of the U.S.
Yeah, but hey, it's all about.
They play together really well.
It's all about
the U.S. or whatever. But if you look at, Spain would love to have our forward line.
Oh, our forward line is fantastic. Don't get me wrong. Like you said, probably the best we have seen.
Our midfield is much improved because they've surrounded her around with a little bit of defense now. Andy
Sullivan is not.
Andy Sullivan, who sucked, is gone. right?
You're right.
And
You're
even
right.
our defense is a little bit better than it was in the last Olympics. And we've got a coach who's like 1,000 times better.
Okay, you're right. The coach is 1,000 times better.
Yeah.
But Spain is Spain. Mikey Dobbs might win this bet, and if he does, I'm gonna.
If I would go against
feelings are gonna be
Spain,
hurt.
I would be like, let's go, Adam. Let's beat Spain 10-9. Like, if you score 9, we'll score 10. You score 10, we'll score 11. Let's go.
By the way, I mean, Spain by far throughout the entire Euros looked like the ultimate team.
Oh, they look good.
Which, Dave, by the way, you won technically. But in
Technically,
but in reality, I won.
Yes, that's
so we
true.
bet the Euros. I think I had bet France, correct? And I forget who you bet.
Did I have? Somebody had England. Did I have England?
You probably had England.
I think I
know
England.
I had France.
Yep.
I had the winner, Spain.
But
Cats always knows when he wins.
But this is kind of how you pick based
usually
on what other people pick. But in the bet that mattered, I won because I had picked Spain. So Dave and I are like-minded that we knew Spain was ultimately going to win. But in the more important Copa America tournament, Dave, who did you pick?
I had Colombia.
Yeah, they were the kind of Spain team.
That was a
tournament.
very, very good pick, to be fair. From the beginning of the tournament,
great pick,
right? Yeah. I mean, it took them overtime in the final.
Right.
Come on,
right.
Had they not got sucked into the dramatic fight against Uruguay, and gone into extra time and drained all of their energy,
they
would have probably beat Argentina. But like I said, Argentina gets it. That when we went into that bet, I said they are too experienced. They just know how to get it done. And even with a underperforming, injured Messi, they were able to do it.
Yeah. So I had for the Euros, we actually both had Spain, Dave.
Okay. So
and
you won.
Dobbs had France.
Yeah.
But then for Copa, I lost early. I had Brazil.
Okay.
And then Colombia for Cats.
Yeah. Which Colombia is a great pick. Don't get me wrong.
Oh yeah, it was a great pick. But so here's my question.
Came very close to nailing both from the beginning. One overtime.
Very, very, very close. So speaking of Copa, what do you think the Copa tournament has said about how we will be as hosts come 2020?
I think it's
anything at all.
No, I don't.
Okay.
Because it's different organizations that run the CONMEBOL is the
CONMEBOL
is the organization that got paid off by.
I think I agree with you.
That
organization is just. Go ahead.
Yeah,
Sorry.
no. So I think it's all about where the money flows and how quickly organizations made bad decisions on how the turf was and all that.
They demanded that all of the pitch sizes would be the same. So one of the stadiums was a little bit narrow. I can't remember which stadium it was. So they made them all crap.
Yeah, okay.
Like, how stupid is that? Nobody has ever played a soccer tournament where they're like, it'd be unfair. I'm like, every soccer tournament, the history of World Cup has always been slightly different dimensions. They've been very, in the same ballpark, but come on.
Yeah.
Got it.
No, but I think World Cup, FIFA, US has a signal. It's going to be different decision makers that are going to make sure the checks and balances, everything from the turf to the security
in Miami
that they're making way better decisions. And I don't think the same mistakes would be made in a World Cup.
Okay.
Not to say it couldn't happen, because I also think that, there was obviously fans that were out of control and are fully accountable for their actions.
That was horrible.
Yeah, that wasn't good.
And so maybe we should fund the police.
For those of you not aware, there was basically a riot at the final. The game started like 2 hours late because people just rushed the gate. They broke in. To be fair, they have learned. So from the Liverpool disaster where everybody got pushed up against the fence, right? They have learned. And what they did, to their credit, when there was all that crowd crush, instead of letting people die so that they would be fair and nobody get in, they just opened the gates and let anybody in, which was crazy, because anybody could go in the stadium who didn't have a ticket, but they saved lives.
Better than
smart.
Yeah,
it was
smart.
So even if I think ultimately horrible and the scenes were horrible, but they did some things to save people's lives.
But holy cow, black eye on the organizers of the Copa America knowing what had just happened in the Colombia-Uruguay game a couple days before, they let that all repeat in the Colombia-Argentina game.
You remember the camera angle for the U.S. game? Do you remember this? In the first half, they used the overhead camera, and people were like, "What the hell?" And it was not Torman, but it was Stuart Holden. Stuart Holden was like, he's like, by the way, just so you all know, we don't have any control over the camera angle. That is not our choice.
That was so weird.
That was CONMEBOL insisted that was going to be the feed. They were just commentating.
Really? Oh,
yeah. So even in an American stadium with American commentators, they were still dictating the feed. And then they got so much shit on Twitter that after it took them 35 minutes, they finally went back to the normal camera angle.
Yeah. Jeez. Okay. That makes me feel better because I was getting scared.
It took me a minute. It took me 5 minutes. after watching that, I was like, what is so different here?
Am I drunk?
It's like, I'm not drunk. Did I have another glass of red wine?
How many glasses of red wine did I have? Let me think. I can't remember that number, so maybe it's bad.
Maybe it's not the camera.
Oh, gosh. Well, that's good because especially when they came to Atlanta and they were talking bad about our field, and I was like, "Oh, they're coming for the World Cup. We got to do this right and not have people talk about us like that."
I think that they will learn something really important from the turf things, right? Yeah, they have got to get those turf in earlier and let them sit to really lock better. And I think they will.
But there was why did that happen? There was a reason because there was it was ridiculous that. Was such an oversight of not being. How could you put the turf down 2 days before a game?
Yeah,
right.
It's ridiculous.
All right, I feel better that we'll get it right.
Yeah, we'll get it right.
Okay, good.
Gonna be in every freaking stadium in the whole country.
So do you
last name again?
There's no way to turn Atlanta United into grass permanently. It's such a shame.
No, it doesn't matter. I don't think the turf has hurt our soccer one iota. I think that they got one thing amazingly right, which is if you're gonna play turf, you can't have football lines on it. That would have been horrible.
Yeah.
Oh,
and they figured that out, and it's fine.
Yeah. I'm not much of a hater because I've been playing on artificial turf for 20 years now, and once you get used to it, I don't believe that it has any significant increase in injuries.
Isn't Messi who was after all this crap, he created the famous Stall Academy in Barcelona. They're like, actually, a lot of those fields are turf.
Yeah. and by the way, his ankle got screwed up on grass. So
that was, by the way, that bless my heart, that reminded me of you and I playing in our last days in the old man soccer.
Yeah.
He got hurt just because he was old. He was trying to stop, and that was awful. Yeah. It was just I felt that way in that moment that that's a normal ball he would have saved and been normally, and you could see him going into it. He was couldn't do it anymore.
Yeah.
And you could see him hesitate a little bit, and then he's like, well, I got to go for it. That's normally whatever. And then it just rolled, and you're like, yeah, that's an old man injury.
And I think that moment is going to be the decision where Messi knows he's not playing in the next World Cup.
God bless. He should.
Because I think he's smart enough to.
He went out on 3 consecutive titles.
Yeah, Copa America, World Cup, Copa America. He's got nothing else.
You have to drop the mic at this.
Got to drop the mic. And then if
he still has not won one title. Every single competition he's ever competed in, he has won.
Yeah.
Period.
Okay.
In every single league he's ever played in, except MLS Cup.
So that's what I was saying. Hold on. But that's exactly what I'm saying. So
does not count.
That injury is going to take at least 2 months for him to be ready, right? So August, September,
he'll be
October
back for the final, and they're gonna win.
Giddy
healthy, blah, blah,
How much are you gonna make a bet?
Ooh, what's the bet? What's the bet?
Messi adds another cherry to the icing to go off on the chariot horse.
You know what?
You're gonna bet against Messi on this?
I am.
Okay.
And the reason why, wait, hold on.
I
shake your hand. I am gonna say that I have more faith in the level of MLS than that.
You're hilarious.
I think Columbus and Cincinnati.
Somebody should put a straitjacket on this guy.
funny. I didn't know we were getting a comedian tonight. He has more faith in the MLS. And
what you're giving me, which is fair, you're giving me Miami versus the entire field. I'm not picking a winner. This is the bet that we're making.
This is MLS Cup. You just get to the tournament.
No, I know, but you're picking Miami, and I get anybody else. Anybody else wins except for Miami, I win the bet.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'll take the field.
All right. I mean, I always take the statistically less obvious bet because that's me. You always take the data, Dave. Like, I get it, but it's going to be so much more rewarding when I'm right as the logical bet. That's right, Carmen. You know that you're betting
even with Tata. I just think that team's too old.
You decided to bet against Messi, and that was a huge mistake. And even you will admit that when you're wrong. When we come back here in December and say, Mikey Dobbs, you were right.
We'll see what happens.
I get the field.
Because I mean,
really good bet.
Some stuff's written. I mean, Messi comes back from his ankle injury. He gives every last bit that he's got to get the MLS Cup.
Or Messi comes back from his ankle injury. He plays, and 5 minutes later, he injures his ankle again.
It's possible.
It's more likely, actually.
It's possible,
but
or likely.
Messi has proven.
What's the opposite of possible? Likely.
Yeah.
That guy, I am not disparaging Messi. He's the greatest player of all time.
No,
he's the best player in MLS.
That's what
he's just old. If you saw him roll his ankle, he's old.
Well, you know who else is old is Ronaldo.
Yeah.
Did you hear him whining all throughout the Euros?
What was he whining about?
Everything and anything that ever happened. He's
always been
a mamma mia on everything. And I know he's not Italian, but that was how he was acting. Like everything was like the world was against him.
Although he did take the selfie with the kid. Come on. If there was a redeeming moment, kid ran on the field and they were about to the security was about to kill him, and he said, "Hold on a second." He took the selfie with the kid. Okay, I mean, that's a redeeming moment,
I suppose. What about him crying, boo-hooing after he missed that PK? Yes, no.
It was one of the happiest moments I've ever seen.
As soon as he rolled his ankle, he was crying too.
I really don't like Ronaldo. I just don't. You can tell that guy is just.
You don't like him and most people don't like him as much as Messi because his is pure determination.
Yeah.
It's just work ethic and he's a lot of talent. I mean, super talent, but what he got there was just pure arrogance and determination and effort. Whereas Messi just makes it look just.
No, here's why. No, this is honest. This is honestly why I hate Ronaldo. Like I know, like hanging out, having a glass of wine with Ronaldo, and like actually being able to like enjoy myself versus a Messi, the GOAT. That I would much prefer hanging out with Messi, who's like laid back, humble.
No.
But also in his brain has the same motivation Cristiano Ronaldo has, but it's all up here and it's not on his face.
Of course.
And,
Messi is by far the more cerebral player.
Cerebral.
Okay.
Because Ronaldo is pure athleticism, pure power, pure determination, willpower. You got to admire him, but
I do.
But anybody out there,
I appreciate
anybody out there. There's people who are arguing, "Oh, Ronaldo is better than him." That is bullshit. Messi's by far the better player
on every metric.
Yeah. Now, Ronaldo, by sheer force of will, made him maybe the second best player of all time, and that is sheer determination, will, his staying power.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I mean, God bless him, right?
Yeah.
I mean, just amazing. But he's not
agreed.
Messi.
I appreciate Ronaldo for his determination and what he's been able to do, but he's the last guy that I'd want to like probably have a glass of wine with. I just don't think
and people are like, "Oh, Cristiano Ronaldo outscored him in a few years head to head in La Liga," and you're like, "Yeah, because Messi passes." Occasionally he sets up teammates, whereas Ronaldo's like, "Oh, I'll shoot and I'll shoot and I'll shoot again."
Yeah, I was even trying to picture Ronaldo like.
I remember Ronaldo as a Man United fan when they signed him at 17. I watched his first games and stuff. So, and he struggled to score in his first season. He was 17 years old.
I bet.
But
so by the way, did you see the photo of of Messi
Oh
and
my
the
God.
Spanish player,
Yeah.
like when he was like a baby.
Yeah, Yamal.
Yamal.
He has all these pictures of him as a baby.
So weird.
That is weird.
Is it a little
It's
weird?
really weird.
That's a little weird.
It's a little creepy.
It's super creepy.
Very creepy.
Especially in the social media. I saw it and then I was like, that's got to be fake.
Like it's got to be
And then-
fake.
right,
But it's
and
not
then-
fake.
And
It's
then a
real.
couple days later, I actually followed up and I was like, no, that was real.
That
That's
was real.
super weird.
It's
That is
very
really-
like he's actually bathing.
Yeah.
Like it's
so
like a
for
weird
those who
way.
don't know, when Yamal
Weird.
was a baby, there was some commercial campaign, and Messi was there, like holding the baby and bathing the baby, and now he's the Spanish star at 16,
Who
He
could
scored
be
the
the
youngest
next,
player to ever
Yeah.
score in the Euros.
could be the next generational world class.
Everybody
player.
always says next. Blah, blah, blah. I think he's really
Dude,
good, and
he
he could
is-
be. But you can't say it. And he does not have.
He's already had like an Mbappe type of tournament in the Euros. No,
But here's the thing. So
for a
Mbappe.
16-year-old, he had
Okay.
a great 16-year-old.
So if
not Mbappe.
16.
Here.
Let me repeat.
Look,
16 years old.
Wait a second.
16.
Wait a second. If you're scouting, here's my scouting tip for all those people, whatever. So if you were scouting Mbappe at that age, you would say he has that same height, power, strength, and physicality that Ronaldo had. That is a much better bet. That doesn't mean that he will be better player, but that's a much better bet that he's not going to be a bust because he's always going to have that, right? He just has to harness the understanding of it, whatever. Yamal is
That's my point. He's already not a
Hold
bust.
on,
He just won a
hold
Euro. He's already
Hold
not
on.
a bust.
He won't be a bust.
hold on. So if you're taking Yamal, you'd compare him more to a Messi because he's a creative player, he's really skillful, he's got vision or whatever. And the thing that
He got blessed by Messi in
He got blessed by Messi. But the thing that was so apparent about Messi in those early days is the pure acceleration, that speed with the ball. And Yamal does not have that. So if you're asking me, does Yamal have a chance to be the next Messi? No chance.
Okay.
He could be a phenomenal player.
Yeah.
I mean, he looks really good. He's got a vision or whatever. He looks to me,
But he's got to do it in a different way because
Yeah.
I agree. Like, no, anybody who's like, it's hard to ever imagine a player that has a change of pace like Messi.
Yeah,
Never. And it's not about speed; it's about his acceleration and
Quickness.
to set it up in a way where he can create that separation
Mhm.
to where he does this little juke, and then the next thing you know, he's just gone.
And the vision on the ball moving at that speed is
Right.
ridiculous.
And what's going to happen next? He already has the next two chess moves figured out,
And you
then
could
he does
see
it.
that with him even at 16.
Yeah.
So Yamal does not have that.
Yeah.
He's
I don't-
gonna. could
I
be
don't
a
know that.
great
I
player.
don't know that any other player will ever have it. At least in my lifetime,
not for a long time.
I don't think I'll ever see it.
Yeah.
There is a reason why he's by far the best player of all time.
Yeah.
So
And if you're not familiar with I'll go back to a conversation Dave and I had 10, 15 years ago when we were talking about the greatest player of all time. And again, this Carmen was a time where I wasn't watching a lot of soccer. This is probably 10 years ago, right when I was, having my first child. So, late nights of feeding kids and not being able to wake up early and watch soccer. I didn't really get the opportunity, which sucks, like in the prime of Ronaldo and Messi's heyday, to like really watch all those games. Like I used to watch the EPL in previous years. And so and I still will say the real Ronaldo, like if I'm picking in a kickball team for
the original Brazilian.
the
Ronaldo.
original
The
Brazilian,
real, got it.
like the real Ronaldo,
Got it.
like if I'm picking a kickball team at their height, Messi, Ronaldo, Cristiano Ronaldo, or the real Ronaldo, like to play in that moment where I'm taking the real Ronaldo and I'm going to whoop any of those guys' butt on my team.
The real Ronaldo before he tore his ACL was absolutely every bit as good as Cristiano Ronaldo. Like better.
Easy.
And because he had the power, the speed, and he actually had almost a Messi-like ability to dribble at speed and accelerate. But I mean, he was almost like Cristiano plus Messi a little bit. But the problem is he tore his ACL so
plus a
early.
little Erling Haaland,
he was
going forward.
a monster.
Yeah.
I mean, if you watch those old highlights with him originally showing up at Barcelona or even at PSV in Eindhoven, I mean, there's one at Barcelona that the player has his jersey and is trying to pull him down, and he literally tries to pull him out down his jersey because he's, getting momentum. And instead, he's so strong, he just rips the jersey and he just keeps running through it and runs through and scores. Yeah. And he just leaves the jersey behind. And you're like, I mean, you've seen players pulled down before. When somebody grabs your jersey that hard, you're going down.
Anyway, so I had to come back
like a freight train.
I had to come back to the bar after a soccer game, and it's always tough to admit when I'm wrong to Dave, but I will do it when I am. I did come back and I said, Dave, I watched a bunch of YouTube.
I made him go watch your YouTube.
Yeah, he said, go watch YouTube, and I did. I watched I watched so much content of Lionel Messi doing things I'd never imagined soccer players being capable to do over and over again. That were everything from dribbling to passing to scoring to defending. Just the all-roundness of it to me it blew my mind.
Wow.
And I still stand that I would still take the original Ronaldo in that one given moment in his career as the best.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm picking my kickball team or my football team. But oh my gosh, anybody who's truly if you want to come at me as a Cristiano Ronaldo fan and say he's the GOAT and then that Messi is not, then literally let's go have a beer together and watch highlight reels because Cristiano Ronaldo's got some great goals. He's an assassin.
Mm-hmm.
Well, actually, a lot of it is just goal after goal. They're not all great goals. They're just goals.
They're just goals.
They just relentless goals.
And that's exactly my point.
But
if you are a fan of soccer and understand what soccer is about and the full contribution, then to compare Messi to it's not even a match. I mean,
no, and at the time I was saying to Mikey Dobbs, so 538, which is a website, and it's dying now but at the time they were owned by ESPN and they were doing much more sports analysis. It's a statistical, it's a news website, but does everything through statistics. Right? It was founded by Nate Silver, the statistician. Yeah. Anyway, so in that they did an analysis of soccer. Right. And they did all time the leading in all these different leagues in soccer. And they did left-footed goals and right-footed goals and headed goals and dribbled goals and blah, 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 blah. And there's just massive dots for all the best players, whatever. And in every single one, there's a dot that's an outlier. Even freaking headed goals. It was Messi.
Really?
And you're like, what the? And it was just outlier. And Cristiano Ronaldo was there, and he was always on the very high edge of all those players, better than all those whatever.
Right.
But Messi was such an outlier; it was ridiculous.
Oh, wow.
It was absolutely ridiculous. And you watched it, and it confirmed that. You're like, yeah, it's just out of this world better. So it's sad to see him go with the big.
Did you see Messi misses what do you call it, the Pinnacle?
I did,
Copa America.
Yeah.
But what a beautiful shot! Even though it went off the top of the crossbar, you're like, man.
And again, that's just age.
Yeah,
Messi doesn't miss that 5 years ago. No way, no chance.
Yeah, he's been known to miss some penalties.
Yeah, but he wouldn't have missed that one that way.
Probably not. But so what else do we want to talk about? We're winding down, winding up.
Any more soccer stuff?
All right. Well, so first of all, predictions. So we got women's Olympics.
Mm-hmm.
Want to do men's Olympics?
I don't know enough about
it. Yeah, it's kind of
not
worth it.
Yeah, I don't even know who's going to be.
All right, let's get that.
What about Leagues Cup? Who's going to win
Leagues Cup? MLS. We did MLS before. We made predictions
on the MLS Cup winners.
Yes, you made us make predictions in an earlier
have to remind me.
podcast.
I have to look that back.
I think we both picked Columbus. We both.
I had to have picked Miami,
Cincinnati.
Right? You picked Miami.
Yeah, you picked Miami, and
I
think we both picked Cincinnati.
Did we?
I think we both
thought we
did.
split it.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so there we go. And I've already just bet.
And now I've got the whole field.
Yeah.
So,
watch Mikey Dobbs win all
I
of
think
this
in
stuff.
that moment I would have said I think that Columbus and Cincinnati are both going to be better than Miami, and so I would have picked one of those. Yeah. And so now you've given me both. So we're great.
They're not going to do it. I mean, Cincinnati proved they can win the Supporter Shield. They can't win MLS Cup. The Crew just lost to Atlanta United. So I mean
Cincinnati now is playing in the Olympics without Miles Robinson, and that is hurting them. Because their center back is not nearly as good as without him.
Mm-hmm. It's true.
But, and Columbus looked like the best team in the league until we Gregerson them.
I mean, I guess what? We've beaten Miami. We beat Columbus.
Mm-hmm.
And we lost.
We only beat the best.
I was about to say, and we've lost to a lot of people.
Everybody else. Sad. So what about Atlanta? I mean, this is the big thing.
Where are they going to finish the season?
Yeah, where's Atlanta
So
going
now
to
we're,
finish?
On the edge of 9. Technically, we're 9th.
Yeah, it's hard to bet because we have no idea whether we're getting designated players in this window. But what do we think?
I think that where are we going to finish the season?
Yeah, I guess you got to bet with this squad.
So
I think you get to rebet if we suddenly get. And by the way,
how many points we got? 28.
So do you do
6th place is 37. So I think at best we're finishing 7th. Like that's. The best
I'm going to interrupt this to say, do we know who? Did we hear about the designated player rumor for Atlanta United?
No, who?
Yeah, it was.
Who?
Well, the one they were about to sign is actually going to be real.
Yeah, go ahead. Tell.
Right from Atalanta.
Atalanta, yeah.
Like whatever his name is.
I thought they came to terms, but not necessarily the player.
Yeah,
agreeing,
but
right?
the rumor, the other designated player.
Oh, do tell.
Yes, please.
Gio Reyna.
I saw that.
I did see that.
I'm not buying that fake news.
Why?
I'm not bringing that
if
up.
You're Gio
Move
Reyna,
on. Let's go. We're not bringing that up on this
if you're
podcast.
Gio Reyna, that's a decent move.
Stop it.
Why?
Right, no, stop it.
He's
Move
a
on.
clubless guy.
We're not talking about this. Not on this podcast. Move on. All right. So what else?
All right.
Keep
When
going.
it happens, then
Stop it. Now, Dave did not say that. I apologize to the listeners. Not a chance.
Somebody should put a straight jacket.
He read some clickbait. He didn't mean it. What a disastrous move for any player. No. Okay. So all right. So I'm bringing it back up again. We're moving on.
Now he's talking about it. See, I got him.
So,
I got him
okay.
talking about it.
No, we're not talking about it. We're gonna say Miami's gonna win the MLS Cup.
No.
Any other signings? So we got
What do you think of Amador?
no clue. You said that
Or
he was
left back.
Has he
available
played?
against the Crew.
Yes.
And again,
he was on the bench. So here's another thing, Valentino. Like you got the new signing, the left back. So Wiley's gone for the Olympics, and this is actually before he signed for Chelsea, but now he's gone for sure because he signed for Chelsea. But he was gone for the Olympics, right? So they bring in Amador as a signing, right? Guy in his prime,
young,
super fit,
healthy.
young, whatever. Why not start him? What do you have to lose? And I go back to, Alex Ferguson, who was the first coach I really started watching when I was a kid in New York on the Italian language channel. What he used to say is when you make a signing, that signing, I mean, occasionally you can sign a really young guy for the future, whatever, but mostly when you sign a normal player, you need to have a spot for that player in your head for a starting lineup. And on day one, they go in the team. They get it. They get a run. Sometimes they don't do that well, and you pull them off, and then you give them a little bit of break, and then you slowly ease them back in again. But the first thing to do is just put them in the team.
Let them break the ice.
Yeah. Okay. If you think they're that guy, you put them in the team. And we need a left back. We signed a left back. He's totally in his prime. Right?
Yeah.
What are we doing? He played Hernandez at left back over him.
And I don't know.
What?
Not to be machismo, but all of us at some age were like the best player on a team in this group, right? And you had no fear. If you're going on a new team, you're ready to perform. Let's go.
The other thing I want to say,
so it's not like the player doesn't want to play. You know that you of course I can come out here and prove that I'm the best player. That's what you want.
The other thing I want to say is sell Abram now. He is not even an MLS caliber player. I mean, that guy is terrible.
Yeah, not good.
Not good at all.
Terrible. I mean, if in the Indy 11 where he started, right, and in the next game,
if we were gonna kept a player, it'd have been Parata, right? But no.
Yeah, Parata was better than Abram. Parata is not amazing.
Not amazing, but
way better. So first of all, they scored. He didn't read it at all. Wiley in the Indy 11 game got caught up the field, and Abram didn't read it at all. I mean, he was like, oh, there's a guy out there. And then a few minutes later, when they got a breakaway, he's literally daydreaming. And he's standing back, and then he's like, oh, I'm keeping everybody on side. I mean, it's awful. It's the number of times I have seen him when he gets under a little pressure, just kick the ball as hard as he can. That guy I mean,
is he like the Miguel Berry of defense?
I think he's Miguel Berry quality. Now, Miguel Berry might be a little worse, but it's pretty close.
Okay.
He is that.
Right.
Get rid of him.
Yep.
Find somewhere for him.
So, agreed.
He is awful. Awful. And I don't usually go off on a player like that, but I have seen enough.
You never do. You're always.
I've seen enough of him. Forget it.
Okay.
Abram and Barry are the two that have received. Well, I mean, come on. There's
somebody's got to be willing to spend 400.
We even talked like some good attributes about Breck Shea, but I mean,
that was a blast.
Yeah.
Remember, we got 400 GAM for Etienne or something from Montreal. Montreal seems to be a terrible team with no ideas of what to do. Sell them there. Yeah. We gave them Joseph Martinez ended up there.
Gosh, he looked horrible.
George Campbell ended up there. He did. George Campbell ended up there. Sadich ended up there.
Sadich. I forgot.
It was depressing watching Joseph Martinez in the Montreal game.
George Campbell ended up there. Martinez ended up there. Etienne ended up there. Please, they got to go for Abram.
Yeah.
Like 400 GAM, people.
And God, they beat us in that game too, didn't they?
They did.
And Joseph Martinez, there was like a break. I mean, I couldn't believe he didn't get in the breakaways. Box. Oh gosh, it was Joseph Martinez.
Now I want to say, for those who are, was it this game? Hold on a second. Let me go my notes because I have been, and I want to have my. My slight moments of the mea culpa. Yeah, in Montreal, the 87th minute, Brad Guzan makes one of the best saves I've ever seen.
What?
Oh my God! Right. Can we pull this up on the highlight?
Talk amongst yourselves. I gotta see this.
This save. I mean, we're up 1-0. We're down a man because Gregerson got a absolutely. Well, I wouldn't say absolutely, but a pretty mediocre second yellow. Early in the game, we played down a man for a long time.
Yeah, I remember watching that. That was not.
Is this Montreal?
Yeah, the highlights against Montreal, 99 in Montreal.
At best, mediocre. Like, I think, again, that's where the referee.
It was a transition moment, and he comes, and in a transition moment, usually, if you take it down a guy in a transition moment, then it's a clear yellow, right? I think, first of all, you got to be a little judicious as a ref. It's a second yellow. But in that case, it wasn't a clear, like, he stopped the transition. He had a good play on the ball. He tried to lean in on him. And yeah, he took him down. It was a foul, but that's not a second yellow card, in my opinion.
No,
because it wasn't cynical. He didn't do it like just to stop the break. He did it to try to win the ball. You could clearly see he was leaning in to get the ball.
I think it was a terrible.
That's MLS refereeing, which has gotten better over the years.
No, it hasn't.
Yes, it has. When we first started watching,
that's embarrassing.
Dobbs, it was awful.
Like compared to what year? God. Since we started watching
it was in the 87th minute, Carmen.
Or since 1996.
Oh, that's a pretty good save.
That's a good
look at that save.
Hold on, I'm rewinding it.
Gotta pause it first.
Oh shit. I didn't know. Sorry.
That is a Papa Paul.
All right. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Okay.
He did the classic keeper thing to make it look like it's.
There was a little bit of that.
I think Josh Cohen gets to that with way greater ease to not make it look so dramatic. So I don't know that I
thought it was a spectacular save.
I think, because
I've been down on him, and I'm like, that's a legit save.
It is a legit save, but he's making it look way more dramatic because he's a half step behind.
Maybe I'm lowered the bar so much that I'm.
And that might be a little bit of it.
But it is a spectacular save.
It's a decent save.
It is.
It's better than a decent
Josh Cohen but I believe Josh Cohen makes that save, even being.
No, actually, I think he doesn't reach that ball.
He would have already been stepped a foot to the right.
Maybe, but he wasn't slow at moving.
Yeah.
He wasn't slow at moving. He got over quick. I mean,
he was just a little sluggish there on the feet.
I wouldn't say sluggish necessarily.
Was that actually on the YouTube channel? What? Or were we watching that?
That was on the MLS soccer.
in our feed.
Yes, I showed it on the feed. Yes.
But were people actually watching what we're talking about?
They did see at least one.
I think we talked about it all.
Yeah,
I do just want to mention real quick. Soccer in the Streets is having their black tie soccer game coming up in August this year. So if anyone wants to donate to the cause.
And you know who their amazing intern is?
Yes.
Our YouTube producer and what would we call social media expert or whatever.
Simon?
And international
Simon.
correspondent.
He is
International.
an intern at Soccer in the Streets.
Yes.
Working at hustling.
Love it.
At all the fields and doing stuff.
Working hard.
Awesome.
So we're raising money. So look it up. Black Tie Soccer Game, Soccer in the Streets 2024. And you
Simon
can find
doesn't
me.
have a tux. You got to get him a tux.
Oh, you just go to Party City, darling. That's what I do for all my outfits.
Party City.
Party City. I'm classy. You know how that is. But yes, look it up. Donate to me. I'll be very, very thankful. And you can come out to Wild Heaven or to Wolf Mountain when we go up there, and I will buy you a drink.
What's the location of the actual game?
Gosh,
field?
they just moved it to somewhere that I don't even know. But it's on the website if you find it. But find me. I'm on the black team.
In the streets.
Soccer in the Streets. I think my website, what is it? It's like my.soccerstreets.org/CA Butler. If you want to donate.
All right.
Soccer in the Streets.
Let's dance
Carmen
it out of
Butler.
here.
Google it.
Yes. All right. We dancing?
Just like back in Guadalajara. You say it, I do it, coach.
I do it, coach.
Football is life.
Na, 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 na.
Danny Rojas, Rojas,
Thanks for listening, everybody. Because it's been a long season. Ciao.
Bye.
That was an appropriately meandering.